We're coming in hot with inspiring guests, witty banter, and colorful commentary for today's veterans and military community. This is the Tango Alpha Lima podcast.
They call me crazy cause I'm facing all my giants. They try to scare me into thinking I can fight it. They tell me I should never even think of trying. But that's just me, I'm gonna live out in defiance.
Go team, go Alphas. Wow, we're gonna need that spirit. We're gonna need that camaraderie, that tribalism, if you will, because it is rivalry week and it is coming up. It's Army versus Navy. We're gonna talk all about it. We're gonna talk about the uniforms. We got a little fashion here to go with our athletics, and we're gonna talk. It's gonna be all athletics day, and we have a little special surprise in our singular rapid fire at the end of the show. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. All right, my friends. I'm Jeff Daly, the Michigan Dailies here in Southern California, where it's brisk. I call upper 50s, lower 60s, brisk. And Ashley, is it brisk in the DMV? Do you hear me? Like I'm a local?
Yes. Like 50s, mid 50s, getting cold, like low 30s, maybe high mid 30s. Nothing crazy. I really haven't I was just outside the other day doing yard work and I was putting on my Christmas lights and whatnot. And I was just out there in like sweatpants and not even like sweatpants and a t-shirt. People are just like looking at me. Everyone's all bundled up in their North Face, like little like puffy vests and like hats. And I'm like, hi neighbors. I've got that Midwest charm. How you doing? Hi.
Right? You're just like,
I'm just wrestling out there, just like, just trimming the different stuff now that the weather's turned. A lot of the annuals have now died, which I was shocked. Like I've never had my annuals last as long as they did, but trimmed them all down, got the yard work done. People looking at me like I was crazy. Anywho to Leeler. Anywho, that's what we're doing.
You are from Ohio, so the chances of me looking at you accurately are sky high.
Thank you.
So like I said, you're not a huge sports fan, right?
Not really. I enjoy like watching. Do I follow like religiously? No.
Like you didn't go into an emotional spiral when Michigan curb stomped Ohio State, did you? You were just
No, I didn't even watch it.
Didn't even watch it? It was a glorious.
I didn't even know they were playing.
What the
someone said something, yeah.
What the who? Where?
What the hoobity whatty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, but we have a bigger rival. I don't know about a bigger rivalry, but we have a big, huge rivalry. And I feel sorry for the Air Force and the Coast Guard. Does the Coast Guard have a football team? Is somebody going to be offended that I asked?
No.
They have an academy, so it's just the Air Force is left out of this big hullabaloo, right? And there's sometimes a better team. Yep. They have a team, but this is the game. It's the Army-Navy game. And for the Army-Navy game, it is such a big deal. We have parties for them. We have people talking smack to each other. In fact, the past commander of my post is a Marine aviator. He's a helicopter pilot in the Marines, but he roots for Army because he went to West Point. And I don't know if you know that they can do that. So I always asked them, like, why would the Army pay for your education and then let you go serve in another branch? And they said it has to be an even trade. There have to be the same number of people that want to go in one direction as go in the other direction. And they do like a prisoner swap. Wait, that didn't sound right. They do a cadet swap. So we have the smack talking. We have everything that has to do with football, and Army and Navy being who they are. They make a special uniform for the occasion. And I believe, so here's what we're going to do today. Ashley's going to introduce the Army's uniform.
Oh yeah.
Before our guest. Then we're going to have our guest, who was a Division I athlete herself, by the way. So we're keeping it real up in here. And then I'm going to introduce the Navy's uniform after our guest. And then we have our special rapid fire. You don't want to miss it. It involves professional sports and beer drinking and Marine. That's all I'm going to say. Ashley, do you want to introduce the Army's uniform to us?
Woo. All right. So y'all know I love history. I'm so excited. So behind the uniform, do like a pan out for me, Jarek. Just something magical. All right. Yes. Okay. So the Army football reveals a World War II theme. Okay. Army special uniforms for 2022 Army Navy game are designed to honor the 1st Armored Division. They're essentially telling the story of old Ironsides during a critical time in history of the U.S. Army and the United States itself during World War II. So, there is a video, okay, I highly recommend, we're going to have the show notes, that if you take a look at, it's very cool. Like, it's the gloves that they have, like when they hold up their hands, it looks very it's like the Masked Singer meets like Mason, like old like Mason like club folks, where they do like the little pyramid, like they cover the gloves and they have the entire logo of Ironsides, the patch. The uniform itself is this like very like army tank green, like an older green, right? It's got like a grayish hue almost to it, but it's green. They've got like kind of like this mud kind of splattered look into it that kind of transcends like down the uniform, and then it matches and like blends into like the pants of the uniform. The helmet, I watched it at first, and whoever they have like doing this modeling, they have like one of the like the reflecting shield like guards on there, so it's just you can't tell who it is, right? And at first glance, I was like, it looks like a Boba Fett helmet. Like, hardcore nerding out right now. I was just watching him as they were like going through the history, and I just like, wow, how about that? That's nice. It was great. So anyway, that's the Army uniform for the Army Navy game.
Ladies and gentlemen, when she watched it, I watched her watching the video. She had facial expressions and made sounds like she was watching a video on OnlyFans. And it was about a football uniform, all because of
the thing was he was like walking in between the tanks, Jeff, and I was just like, what's...
No, I get it. But I also want to make sure that people understand that the uniform is designed after a tank battalion in World War II, and that there are lots of little pieces to it. It's something you're going to want to read the militarytimes.com article to get all of the specifications of this uniform. I'm going to admit, I'm a Marine, go Navy. But this is an amazing uniform. I think super producer Holly highlighted something there.
Oh yeah, so there's on the left shoulder of the jersey, there's a World War II flag with 48 stars. Obviously, Alaska and Hawaii didn't come into play until 1959. So the flag flown forward on the left shoulder in 1943. So that would be identical to I think was it Vichy French? I don't know if I said that correctly, but
identifiable.
So that we're identifiable. It wasn't moved to the right shoulder until after the North Africa campaign. So there's a bunch of history in here regarding like like Operation Torch, the Americans beating German and Italians for the first time at the Battle of Caserina Pass, the U.S. Army taking a beating from the Axis forces, but the elements of the 1st Armored Division held their ground long enough for reinforcements to arrive. There's just this huge, beautiful kind of story, that this tapestry that they kind of weave through all the history and all of the symbolism in the uniform. So I got a little excited. And the helmet too, the unit patch is also there. In the center is a North Africa campaign streamer, flanked by brown stripes. It's brown stripes on the edges that represent the sand of North Africa. It also includes blue, white, and red stripes from the American Defense Medal, representing the defense of Pearl Harbor. The streamer the streamers of other stripes represented the colors of Germany and Italy. There's also an arrowhead device to represent Operation Torch. So there is symbolism.
Well, the next paragraph talks about the helmet that you were describing. It gives some background on it.
It's cool. Like it looks like there's mud splattered all over it too. Cause like you can't keep tanks clean. That's not what they're made for. So,
and the symbolism there is show the reality of fighting in the North African desert, according to this militarytimes.com article. And the numbers, even the numbers, they're in the font of what was used on the M3 Lee tank.
Yeah, the M3 Lee tank. Colors inspired. There's also the insignia on the uniform pants, similar to the bumper numbers that were identifying the tanks of the 1st Armored Division, which I think is a really there's so much attention to detail in this uniform, and it's incredibly impressive. So the 123rd Army Navy game will kick off at 3 p.m. at Philadelphia's Lincoln Financial Field on December 10th. Whoop, whoop. And the game will, of course, air nationally on CBS. So I know that's just the Army uniform. Y'all tune in for your home.
That's what I mean. If you don't even really like football, you're going to want to see these uniforms in action on December 10th. That's just days away. So get ready for that, Army fans. You have a lot to root for. You have a lot to root for there. Holly is super producer Holly. While you're watching the game and commenting on this video, be sure to say happy birthday to super producer Holly, because December 10 is her birthday, and she will be watching. I don't know who she roots for in the Army Navy game. She's mouthing something while chewing, so I don't really know what she's saying. She's rooting for best uniform. So we have one revealed to you. We'll have another later after our guest. What do you have to say? Oh, you look like you wanted to interject.
This is a matter of fact moment, but I'm excited for you to introduce our guest.
All right. So today's guest is previous commander of Hollywood Post 43, Jennifer Campbell. She's also district commander. She's now abandoned me and has moved to Las Vegas for a job or whatever, to make money or whatever. So this is part of our wellness series, and Jennifer writes for the Legion magazine, so she's available to you whenever you like on the pages of the magazine as well as the interwebs. What we made, and she has a master's degree in nutrition. She's been a personal trainer. She's all about fitness on all different levels. In fact, she was a Division I athlete at the University of Iowa, not Michigan, but she was a triathlete at the University of Iowa. So that is amazing. So I feel like on different levels, she's a great fit for this wellness series, and we're going to be right back. And she's also a friend of Jeff Daly's. You may know of him.
Familiar.
You're familiar. And she had a pretty important role in me still being here. So we'll probably talk about that on camera. And we're going to do all of that while you watch this Army uniform video during the break.
When our nation's veterans came home from serving their country, the American Legion helped them with the GI Bill to get a head start. When they came home from Vietnam, we helped those affected with Agent Orange to get care and compensation. Now there is a new war raging. Unfortunately, it is being fought in the hearts and minds of those who served. Veteran suicide is the most important issue facing veterans today, and too many are battling it alone. So join us, make the pledge, be the one to help the American Legion end veteran suicide.
And welcome back to the Tango Alpha Lima experience. We are here with past commander of Hollywood Post 43, District 24, Jennifer Campbell, and also you've heard about her before, that she was one of the two Legion saviors of the life of Jeff Daly. You probably remember that day a little bit.
I do, yeah. I recall that.
You recall it? She ran down from the mountain from what's the name of that thing? Runyon Canyon.
Runyon Canyon, yeah.
And darted me off to the hospital. Now there are signs of stroke. I wasn't really showing though, huh?
I would reconsider your position on that. Yeah, because when you would text me and said, I'm not feeling great. I think I need to go to the hospital, but I don't think I should drive. And I was like, okay, and trying to find more information. You said, my speech is a little slurred. I was like, what? Like, as I wasn't on my way down yet. So I just turned around and ran the rest of the way home. Because I knew that was one of the signs of stroke. And so when I picked you up, it wasn't like so out of touch that it's like, you just seemed a little confused, but it was almost like you were a little bit drunk, like the way that you were moving and speaking was almost, like just a little tipsy. And I remember asking you, I was like, are you all right? And you're like, I don't know. And it sounds comical now, but
Right.
I was trying to like get a little bit of assessment of like, where things were at and how bad it really was. But it's really critical to act quickly in those moments to avoid long-term damage.
Right. Like, so, and you had talked to Mary Jo Andretti Dial,
Yeah.
also Legion employee. And I guess between the two of you, you stopped me from just trying to sleep it off and to go handle it.
Yeah, well, I remember, and obviously, like, nobody likes staying in a hospital. It's not a fun thing, but I remember imploring you. I was like, please take the doctor's recommendations. Like, you're here. Let's just make sure everything gets checked out, and just listen to them. But I get it. Like, it's nobody wants to be away from home when they're sick. Especially in a hospital, and it's scary. You want to be around your comforts, and that's definitely not a hospital setting. But I'm very happy that you listened to reason and did the right things, because look at where you are now. You could be a completely different story, had you had something happen when you got home, and it would have taken that much more time to get back to the hospital and readmitted and all of that. So
Yep. So I'll thank you now before we get into the tough questions.
all right.
That was our sweet intro, and now we're gonna bear down on you. All
Okay.
right? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Always ready. Let's
All
do
right. It
it.
starts with the tough stuff starts with Ashley. I'm the nice one.
So Jennifer, I would love to know a little bit more about how you got started in your like health and wellness journey, because I know that this is going to eventually tie into, of course, your role with the Health and Wellness Advisory Panel. So I'd love to learn about where the source of the passion came from.
Sure. I've always been an athlete. I grew up an athlete in high school. I went on to be a collegiate athlete at the University of Iowa on the triathlon team. So fitness has really always been a part of, kind of my wheelhouse. It's something that I continue to do, even well after undergraduate, continue to race, continue to just stay super active. And after undergraduate, my degree was really in business and communications, and I was really intent. I was like, I've got to use my degree. And I actually had a boyfriend who was also a collegiate athlete and got into personal training. He's like, you really need to be doing this. You really need to be getting into personal training and coaching. I was like, no, I have to use my degree. Paid for it. I got to use it. And after spending a little bit of time in corporate America, I was a little disenchanted by it. So I was like, yeah, maybe you're right. So it really kind of blended something that I was already passionate about. Really, kind of immersed myself in the personal training world. And then from there, I found really quickly that a lot of my passion really lied in nutrition. Because that's where so much of weight management is actually, like when they say abs are made in the kitchen, it's really true. So that's really something that I got super passionate about, and went back to school and got my graduate degree in nutrition education. So kind of embarked down that path, and nutrition and fitness really go hand in hand. So it was just like a really nice blend of what I was already doing. And yeah, it was just a cool thing to see, especially from a nutrition standpoint, like what the body's truly capable of. And, it's just kind of grown from there. I recently started with a global health and wellness company that's brought on several different brands, and working there on kind of the more business side, but it's kind of got to blend my undergraduate degree with my graduate degree. We have a supplement company, a fitness app, an actual, physical fitness studio chain, and, athletic apparel wear, and, events like little fun runs and things like that. So it's kind of a nice blend of all the things that I really hold dear.
It's like a fruit cocktail. You got all the things in one place and you get to enjoy it one bite at a time. I love it.
Yeah.
That's my food metaphor for the day, because I enjoy food very much.
Is it the only one?
I appreciate the fruit aspect of it. At least we went the healthy route.
Yeah.
Well, Midwest fruit salad is not always healthy.
True.
With all that stuff in there, and
Listen, I'm talking like a nice fresh cut, like seasonal fruits laid out, very colorful, healthy. I'm not talking about the stuff you get in a can you gotta like drain the syrup out of. Very different.
well, I appreciate
Okay, I just want to clarify. Everybody.
your shopping experience, and so you have the fitness as a lifestyle, you have the business as education, then you added nutrition as education. I want to talk a little bit about the holiday spread that people do, and I've had Thanksgiving with Jennifer. It's a bit different.
Is it really that different?
Yeah, it's like roasted vegetables and it's healthy.
That's
I feel like we did like
what kind of Thanksgivings are you going to, Jeff Daly? Come on now. I want to hear your, because this. Okay, go on. I'm just gonna.
I mean, Thanksgivings I go to are there's meat. Then there's buttery, milky mashed potatoes. Then there's stuffing with like even sausage in it. And then there's gravy all over everything. And Jen's was clean, and it was lovely. But it was not what I'm typically used to. So let's just talk about the holiday spread, because I think it affects our community. We had learned recently that the average weight gain 1 year out of the military is something was it 25?
Anywhere from 20 to, I think it's about 25, average 25 pounds.
Yeah.
In 1 year. So, and I think a lot of that happens at the end of the year. So what can we do? What can we do during the holiday season, nutrition wise, and even fitness wise, to get that running start towards the end of the year, so we're not putting all the pressure on January to fix everything?
Yeah, right. That's the month. That's we. So there's a lot of things that kind of like lead up to this, like holiday experience, if you will. And first and foremost, I want to emphasize that like these are lifestyles and these are experiences, so you should enjoy them. You should give yourself a little bit of leeway. That's the point of gathering and family and food, and it's a social and cultural event, and that's extremely important. From a mental health perspective. And just, like building bonds within families and friendships, all the Friendsgivings. I mean, Jeff and I have done them. And so I think that that's a really important part to make. And like say Thanksgiving, for example, that's one day. So, okay, like you could say like, but there's all the things leading up to that and all the things after it, that really just grow this out. So there are things that you can do for, say on the day of Thanksgiving. I think there's a misconception that, these Thanksgiving and traditional foods just have to be laced in butter and sugar and all these things. And while you can do that, you still can make really amazing, traditional foods that taste amazing, and not have it loaded. So if that's important to you, or maybe important to some of your guests, there are options there. You don't have to load your mashed potatoes up with like heavy whipping cream and butter. We actually just had our Thanksgiving office party yesterday, and I brought some mashed potatoes. And this is actually in my last health and wellness column for the Legion magazine. I talked about healthy holiday swaps, and so I had made mashed potatoes. Jeff is going to appreciate this. I made garlic horseradish mashed potatoes. It was my first time trying it, but I used vegan butter, and not that you have to. I just decided I was going to give that a whirl. Use vegan butter and not a ton of it. The garlic and the horseradish, and I used 2% milk. And I didn't use an overwhelming amount of it. And it's really about kind of like in the way that you make it. It's more in the process and less in the product. But just adding the milk really slowly and whipping them, and that's what gives them that light, fluffy, like amazing mashed potato taste. And they were a hit at the party, and pretty. I mean, aside from obviously being heavy in carbs, depending on how big of a scoop you take, but yeah, it was a hit at the holiday office party and fairly healthy. So there's a lot of things that you can do to actually, like swap out things that are high in sugar, high in fat, high in sodium. And that may not be important to you. And like, again, it's one day, but all those little things leading up to it, like, maybe the temptations that you see, just having candy and, chocolates and cookies and sweets and sugary drinks, don't discount that out. Maybe make a pact with friends and family that, like, you're going to limit that kind of stuff, or maybe make a goal for yourself if you have a hard time with willpower.
Yeah,
but I will say
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say one of the most important things from a fitness aspect that you can do is just moving more daily. Workouts are a very short portion of your actual daily caloric burn. It's what you're doing the entire rest of the day. So getting out and just getting up and moving more, if you have a sedentary job where you sit at a desk a lot, get up on your lunch break, like eat lunch and then go for like a really brisk walk, just get up and move more, set a timer to say like, oh, I've just got to, take some time to move around. Or if you can't get an hour of walking in a day, try 2 half-hour sessions. If that's hard to do, get 4 15-minute sessions. So they're all things that accumulate and make a big difference. You just have to make the commitment to do it. And a lot of time is setting those reminders, getting other people involved to motivate and challenge you and remind you, because sometimes a lot of it's out of sight, out of mind.
That's it. My Cali fam, when we when I have Thanksgiving with them, they always want to do after we eat, they always want to go on a walk, which we are hearing from both you and previous guests that these non-gym physical activity moments are super important, and they add up.
1,000%. I mean, you don't have to go out on a family 5K turkey trot, or like play some really aggressive, like touch football out in the backyard. I mean, you're welcome to it, but
Tackle.
like there are a lot of tackle. Oh, okay, tackle football. Yeah, good luck with that. But there are a lot of really non-impact ways, and don't underestimate the power of walking, especially if you do it consistently.
Persistence is key, huh?
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, Ashley.
Well, now that we've talked about food and I'm hungry, I kind of want to switch over and talk a little bit about your work with Fitness Column and things you enjoy writing about, and how some of that can translate to membership and motivation for membership.
Yeah. So for me, a huge part of the joy in writing these pieces is the education factor. I think that, somebody that works in the health and fitness industry, we take for granted the amount of knowledge that we have, and don't realize that this isn't necessarily common knowledge for a lot of people. And especially, living out in Southern California, where it's a very active place, I think that we have to think about, like, globally, and especially for us in our organization, nationwide, how many people actually know this information, and providing something that can really apply to all generations. Obviously we do have an aging population, and so providing information that is actually helpful and beneficial to them. It doesn't help them to talk about like all these amazing, high intensity workouts they can do, where they're just not actually able to do it. So the education piece of the things that they can actually do to improve their health and their wellness is really exciting for me.
That sounds wonderful. Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
I was just going to say, so what articles do you think do you remember writing that would fit in to what we're talking about today? I know you just talked about healthy swaps. Was that?
Yeah, the healthy swaps. There's always, we always talk about like, the motivation factors, and we had just, before the break been talking about the article that I wrote last November about activity trackers. And tech is always a fun thing, especially, you get around the holidays and it's like gifts and it's exciting and your New Year's resolutions and tracking things. But tracking is really, really important to, staying with your goals, like actually seeing it and being able to connect to a community with it. If you don't have somebody at home that to embrace this with, a lot of times there are communities within these apps and things, and just seeing, change and, oh, I'm 500 steps away from my goal today. I'm going to get up and actually do it. So I think that those are really exciting ways to keep with those goals. And so that was one that was, a year ago now that we're talking about, but also one when we talk about the consistency and keys over time. Water, I talked about, hydration. Drink water. You heard that before?
And you know what else I heard before? I heard your ode to the Midwest. You said "ope." Ope. I'm up. I'm 500 steps from my. I love it.
Oh, excuse, I'm gonna squeeze by here and get my shoes on.
I remember I read a thing on the internet about things Midwesterners say, and that was on there. I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Nobody says that. And I went to Target that day, bumped carts, and somebody said, "Oh, that day."
It really is. I feel,
and I cursed in the store. That happened.
Oh gosh, let's see.
So, well, we can go. Are you done with the column part, or do you have some more favorite stories that we should do a best of Campbell?
Oh, I'll let you take the lead on that.
Well, Holly's writing all these columns down. They're going to be in the show notes.
Oh, I'm trying to remember. I mean, they start to blend together after a while because, it's like I write them out in advance. So it's like, oh yeah, that's what I wrote about this month,
Right.
But, and I'm sure it's probably like similar with you with the podcast, you do so much planning into it. It's like, wait, which one was this?
I love the credit people give us. That like I prepare.
Take it and run.
Especially the run, right?
Because Holly prepares.
Because she's a big preparer.
Yeah.
So you do that, and so you do the fitness column. You also, and I will say this, you're also very generous with. I've seen people that you like to varying degrees ask you for tips, and you're always willing to do that. In your new job. Do you get to spread the word, or are you more spreadsheets and business?
It's a blend of both. I definitely still have content that I do within the fitness app, which is really fun for me because that's that's where I started. I started as a trainer. I got to do the actual get down and do the fitness stuff myself, and so I still enjoy that. But the education piece, like we have a supplement company. So the nutrition aspect of advising on, what we should be looking at, what are trends, what consumers are looking for. And then also differences between our different markets, between the US and the UK. So there is definitely the education piece there. That's a lot of fun for me, but looking at like what consumers want, what consumers need. And I get to, I get asked those questions, and that gives me a sense of like, oh, well, there's confusion here. This is what people need clarity on, or this is what people are, have the desire to purchase. So it's insightful.
Which is interesting because a lot of guests in this space will tell us that some of the things that you said, it's not common knowledge. We're not getting it out there well enough. I gave the example, it's tough enough for me to find volunteers to come in for 2 hours and make buddy check phone calls, and these people in the macro public health space are trying to convince an entire nation to drive by the drive-through and park the car and walk and do all of these things, and my hat's off to them because it's just so difficult. But what I wanted to ask you, because we're the audience we're talking to, is what do you think the American Legion, even from a macro organization all the way down to a post, you can pick, choose, doing a both thing, that what can we do to help with what's really becoming a national crisis? They're talking about there's not enough people eligible for the military. I mean,
Yeah. It's a really good question, and it's an important one. And I'm a firm believer in resources. Like, you can't leave a lot of these devices up to the individual. You've got to provide those resources for them because it's overwhelming. There's a lot of choice, and there's a really saturated market as far as nutrition information, sourcing what's true and what's not, because somebody heard it on a podcast, or they excuse me. But they're varying, like anybody can create a podcast. Not everything is as credible as yours.
Holly's super proud right now.
So, but yeah, there's a lot of misinformation, and there's a lot of information that may be true, but that doesn't necessarily apply to them, and they need to be seeking, medical guidance with, like a ketogenic diet might not be for you. And people they just, oh, well, I heard about it, I'm going to give it a try, versus like actually having the research and the foundations behind it. So having, resources that we can put in front of them. And I'm a firm believer that, you just gotta give them that push. Like, hey, if fitness is important to you, here's an app that we have vetted, that we think it has, different modalities in it, whether it's, mental health check-ins, mindfulness, meditations, nutrition guidance, recipes, things that, they can kind of like a one-stop shop, or like, so you take the overwhelming aspect out of it and provide them with an actual tool that they can use, whether, fitness help and, tracking tools and things like that, things that you can sync up to your smart device and be like, so that we take the difficult part out, and the overwhelming and the challenging part out. And that, that does take resources. So whether it's, raising dues slightly in order to provide them a real benefit. Because if you look at the American Legion, you say like, okay, well, what do I get out of my, $33.50 a year, or whatever it is that your post charges? I personally would rather pay a little bit more a year, and I could say like, look, I have a tangible benefit that is something that's going to benefit my health, my family's health, and my longevity, and be able to create community experiences along with that. So I think it takes, you gotta spend money to make money type of thing. I think, you've got to put in the resources that are going to amplify our health, that ultimately will put, our organization and the country in a better scenario. But it does take resources, and resources often take money.
Yeah, resources need resources.
Yep.
It's weird. So you mentioned the Health and Wellness Advisory Panel, or maybe you didn't, and I just read it. But we're on that together, though. The last couple of Henrys scheduled when I'm at PT, so I haven't been on those. I haven't been on those calls. Are you? Is the group listening to this kind of direction? Is that where they're going?
I think so. I should say, at least I hope so. They're definitely. I mean, again, it's how much resources do you have to devote to this? I think that everyone sees the need. It's kind of finding that blend between, okay, this is what, well, oh, we've got a guest star in the background here.
Well, the alphas of the world, super producer Holly, who is behind the logo, had someone dancing behind her, and Steve Brooks, see how I'm getting better at reading her lips and miming, was dancing behind her. And
providing the comic relief. Yeah, so I think there's that blend of, like, what does it take to make this happen, and what are the resources we can genuinely allocate towards making that a reality. So I think that they are listening, and hopefully we can get marketing behind it, and the actual physical resources behind it to put the tools in the hands of members that are going to make a real difference in their life. Because you can talk about things, but give them something to do, give them, like, instead of just saying, go out and do this, provide an actual plan, and multiple resources, because it's not a one size fits all. What Jeff needs isn't what I need in order to stay happy and healthy. So I think that we need to provide, varying degrees of ways we can measure success for our members.
So I hope that they are listening, because I think the membership piece of this today is different, in that there's fewer people serving, so we have to appeal to more of the smaller pool. I'd never buy into the young people today have different needs. They don't. People came back from Vietnam. They were raising families. They were starting careers. They were transitioning. They had mental health issues. They had kind of the same stuff. And we probably didn't do a very good job of handling it back then. But now we have a smaller pool. So if we don't do a good job now, our numbers are just going to shrink. So we have to do better.
Yeah. And as far as you're probably right about the needs. And I think it's not necessarily the needs, less about the needs, but more about ways we approach them. What veterans of the post 9/11 generation are going to resonate with is going to be different than the Vietnam era. And that's going to change down the line as our generation continues to age. So I think that we need to continue to look at what are the best ways to reach our member, and what's really the most effective, and how are we going to, having members see the actual value in the membership. So you can say, like, oh, you can go to the benefits page on the Legion website and, like, oh, I get a discount at, Hertz Rent a Car or whatever it is. If you can, how often do I rent a car? Not very often. But if I can look at, like, oh, listen, I've got actual access to health and wellness plans, like that's a major benefit for me. And that benefits literally everybody in some capacity, whether it's something you engage your family with. We provide this, invite our Legion family to participate with this, and really just making health and wellness a priority, by putting our money where our mouth is, not just by saying we want people to work out, we want people to eat healthy, show them the actual tools in order to do so.
All right, Ashley, your dogs are done wanting to participate in this conversation?
Yes, they were very excited. I imagine there's children outside being physically active or lots of squirrels, one of the above. I don't know. But no, I've been listening. This has been super informative, and I'm content. I'm just here for it. I'm here for the food. I'm here for the fitness tips. I'm loving everything.
But go ahead, please.
I was going to say, the biggest takeaway that I would say, for you guys, for all of our listeners, is just consistency. It's just making habits. It's making habits over time that create actual lifestyles. Like, these diets don't work. It's got to be a lifestyle. And when I say technically your diet is just what you eat, but like in the kind of, conventional sense of the way that we look at a diet, it's got to be something that you can maintain, because if it's not, you're just going to revert back to what you were doing. So small changes and consistently over time is really what creates change. And like I said, with the Thanksgiving example, it's got to be manageable. Like, you're going to indulge, and that's okay. Allow yourself to do it. Don't beat yourself up over it. But also understand what those long-term implications are and make a plan for that. And if we have resources to help us do that, then more power to us. So
thanks for all of this. We've gone through fitness, nutrition, which we've gone to a little bit more in depth than we have in other conversations. So that's really helpful. Alphas, you can find all of Jennifer's thoughts for free in the magazine, and a lot of them are online as well, I believe. Isn't that right, super producer? Yeah. So you can, resources as she's talking about are available to you. I'd love to see posts. Get involved in this as a family. Big posts like ours, we could divide up into teams and see which ones are getting the most steps in a month, or
yeah,
or
I mean,
like that.
tell national, tell your departments, tell national what it is that you want to see out of your membership. That's the power is within the people, the power is within the members. So if there's something that you guys want to see, they'll listen to you. And so if you want to say like, this is important to me, I want access to XYZ, or the ability to do something that genuinely benefits my health, tell them. What's the worst they're going to say?
Get out of here. Who's going to pay for it?
Excuse me.
I don't have, I think partnerships are going to be key to this. I can imagine, I can envision a win-win with some kind of company that provides an actual a real discount for membership, and in large organizations like this, because they're going to get an influx of people, especially in January. It's weird. They call that the Black Friday.
Funny how that works, right?
Huh? Right. So they get all these people, but then we simultaneously create a real app or rebrand one that's already out there that does the job. And then all of a sudden the fitness company's winning because they have an influx of active people. The American Legion's winning because they're providing a real tangible benefit, unique benefit, by the way, that other organizations don't currently have that I'm aware of. And the members are benefiting because, as you say, they have now resources, somewhere to check in. We can stoke that competitive nature that's in some of us who were like you were Division I athletes, that you probably love that competitive part. I got 5 more steps than you today.
I love a good leaderboard.
Especially if you're on it.
Well, why wouldn't I be? But when you look at trends, though, like trends in corporate America, and corporate wellness is becoming increasingly important because they're seeing the benefits, for not only the health and wellness of their employees, but how that then translates into productivity and less absence and things like that. So, I mean, corporations are seeing it. And even though we're a nonprofit, I think we should be modeling those things that, we're seeing take effect in the larger part of our communities outside of the Legion.
And we should lead. That's part of our mission. Aren't we supposed to serve communities, state, nation?
Yeah,
three kind of important audiences.
Yeah, providing an example.
Right? We should be leading as the real 1% or less than 1% who currently.
Yeah, so call your representatives, call your Legion reps.
Yes, and right now I have an employee at National. I have someone on the health and wellness panel here. So I'm on it too, but I'm talking to another one. So I'm putting it out to you guys. Fix it.
We'll see how far that gets us.
And Ashley's in DC, so she probably runs by senators at the gym every day. So tell them to fix it.
I could try. I could definitely try. That's not really the case here. They tend to run and hide and go through the tunnels in the Capitol to wherever their next location
They probably have their secret gyms in there somewhere. All right. I think we've extracted so much free information. If we take any more, we're probably going to get a bill. So I'm gonna thank you, Jennifer, for coming on here representing Post 43 and your company. Did we even get the name?
So my company is the Original Fit Factory, and the fitness app that I was telling you about is called True Connect.
So it's on the
so it's on your mobile app devices. I have an iPhone, so on my iTunes store or my iTunes, whatever you download your apps from, it is there. There's varying levels of membership, but yeah, check it out, and hopefully there's something we can, at the very least, model after that for our members and provide them with things that will actually benefit their health. Because I think if we say health and wellness is important to us, let's show them that it is.
And are you on there doing your crazy videos of doing things?
I
that
do.
people
I
can't
do have. Yeah, I do have some actual content, and I actually got an opportunity to go out to the UK and work with some former Special Forces guys out there, some SAS guys, and so we have a whole battle ready series that. I mean, it's intense, but it takes you back to kind of some of the things, and they have a little bit of a different style in the UK on how they do things, and the nomenclature of what they call, you know, a burpee is different, and you know, certain things like a plank is a brace and stuff like that. But it was really fun, and you know, being around that kind of, you know, military environment again, where it's like, you know, you're working as a team, working as a unit, and working to inspire each other and don't let them quit, because there were times I definitely wanted to, you know, and like, you know, the guy behind me, I'm like, come on, you can do it. So yeah, and that's hopefully what we can bring to the nation as a whole, and get people back on track with just moving more.
All right. If you happen upon any of Jennifer's videos on Instagram, was it YouTube, TikTok, wherever you're doing them, don't get discouraged, because you can't do that. Those are goals. Those are hashtag goals.
Always goals, always modifications, always progression. So, you know, don't be discouraged that, you know, you're not on the same level of, you know, a special forces operator, or, you know, a fitness model professional athlete, but just, you know, do what you can, and build on it every day, every week. So it's all about progress.
Bring out that fitness model in you, America. All right. Thank you so much for being here. Ashley, got any parting words?
Just say thank you, Jennifer, and keep doing what you're doing and inspiring others and make changes. I love it.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, Alphas, I hope that you got a little bit of inspiration here to end this 2022. Don't wait for 2023 is what we're being told. Make small changes, be persistent, and become the physical alpha that you can be. We're going to be right back after the break to talk about Jennifer when she's not here. She won't hear about it until the show airs. And hopefully she doesn't get too upset, because I've seen some of those videos, and I've seen people reach for food on her plate, and it doesn't end well. So thank you. And we're going to go ahead and go to the break.
Advancing the vision.
Advancing the vision.
The American Legion educates, mentors, and leads new generations of Americans.
We are veterans strengthening America. We are the American Legion.
Woo! I hope you enjoyed your break. That was a lot. I hope you ate well and maybe did a lap around the neighborhood inspired by Jennifer Campbell. As for you, Ashley Marie, AMG, can I call you AMG?
Sure, why not?
Ashley Marie Golburja. What was your takeaway from today's guest, Commander Campbell?
It's been really awesome to watch Jennifer over the past few years. Just like, I remember when she was commander of Hollywood Post 43, and it was very inspiring for me. And now it's just hearing more about her career and her pathway, like that she's kind of cleared and made for herself with her master's degree in nutrition education. She's certified personal trainer. You know, she's doing a lot of really great stuff. And I think she had a lot of valuable and useful information for our membership. So kudos to Jennifer Campbell for all the amazing stuff that she's doing. And yeah, fantastic writing, working out, inspiring people. I know she's been in a few of our 100 Miles for Hope ads, like rocking it. You go, girl.
Yeah, some of the 100 Miles for Hope ads that I wish I could get edited out of, because I look like a daggum bloated grape.
But grapes make wine, and they usually like fine wine. You know, you just got to hunt the good stuff.
I just make people wine, so that's different.
Whatever.
So we're gonna move on, and she didn't really mention she's her job now is kind of a big deal. She's kind of put it all together because her undergrad was in business, and she's like the international marketing senior something for this ginormous fitness company. So yeah, that's why she moved to Vegas to go work for them. Okay.
Awesome.
So we started this show today with Ashley representing the Army for this Army Navy football game, and you heard about their uniform. I will say it right off the top. It was impressive. I liked it, enjoyed it a lot. You have the link to the video, so you can watch that. You have the link to this video, so you can watch that. Well, wait, you're done? Awesome. So I'm going to read the article. Did you freeze while they were waiting to go? Yeah. All right. So you've seen both videos now. Now let me read you the story. Navy unveils astronaut-themed uniform for annual clash with rival Army. This is militarytimes.com. The Naval Academy's uniform for its annual gridiron clash against its rivals from West Point is out of this world. For their 123rd game against Army, the midshipmen will be dressed from head to toe in NASA-themed gear that pays homage to the Academy's astronaut alums, including Bruce McCandless, who made history when he completed the first untethered spacewalk. One side of the helmet features individually handcrafted paintings of the iconic photo of McCandless untethered with the Earth in the background, according to a Navy press release. Dividing the helmet's hemispheres is an astronaut pin as a stripe from front to back. The other side of the helmet features the NASA logo set atop the moon. Additionally, the white uniform and red stripes and the American flag mimic markings on the NASA spacewalk suit, the release said. Each player's cleats will be white like moon boots, with added flecks of white to represent the stars among which they tread. The Seafaring Service Academy, in partnership with Under Armour, also made a particular use of the Helvetica font, which has been synonymous with NASA design for decades. Whether the uniform will bring Navy's scoring to infinity and beyond remains to be seen. The Navy uniform, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
Yep, I got thoughts.
Something.
Huh?
It's something. It's out of this world.
Now the description, they again, much attention to detail.
Yeah, no, agreed. I love the attention to detail. I don't know. For me, it just falls short. Sorry. Like,
Are you saying that just because you're repping Army?
no, like overall aesthetic, like looking at the difference of like the style, like I don't know. It just seems a little lazy to me. Like I'm just like, ooh, like that's just me personally. I'm just like, okay. What, like old Ironsides is like an entire thing, right? Like the Army uniforms look like there's like mud splattered and like they've got the ribbon. Like I don't know. I feel like it pays more. Like I feel like it has more historic relevance than like one singular astronaut.
Here's what I think.
I don't know.
Here's what I think
biased.
Your thoughts are rooted in. The Army's uniform is gritty. It's real. It's things that you can touch, you can relate to. The Navy's is sterile like space.
That's actually pretty accurate. That's really good, Jeff.
Yeah.
Look at you.
It's like
Do you write or something? Do you like
sometimes.
little slam poetry once in a while?
I write
like
love
I would enjoy
notes to
that.
self. Jeff Daly, you are amazing. You were out of
Okay. I'm just watching him on screen here, folks.
Whoever she is,
Self-love
making
is
you-
real.
whoever she is making you wait. Get no remote privileges for years as punishment. So anyway, so the Navy uniform is I'm Marine Corps, so hashtag go Navy. And I hope this looks that this looks good in the formation and running into the end zone. But if you're standing there side by side, I can't believe it to say this. The Navy wins. I mean, the Army wins the fashion award ahead of the Army Navy game. So kudos to the Army on this one. Navy, I need you to win though. There are too many people in my post who are Army. I cannot go listen to them talk about their victory in the game. So we talked a little bit earlier about this as well. Are they stepping on some Air Force toes?
It feels kind of weird because I'm like,
Force?
they did a whole nod to NASA, whereas we have a brand new Space Force that could probably use a little marketing.
But they don't have a football team, to be fair.
Yeah, they don't have a football team, right?
But the Air Force Academy could have done this during one of their highlight games. I don't know. And if the Army featured, and I think they should probably do these things in tandem. If the Army was going to feature a specific division and a kind of
like an entire era of aesthetic,
it's basically a vehicle. It's the tank. Couldn't the Navy if they were going to do that, do the same era with a battleship theme?
Yeah, could you imagine? It could have been like a steam.
It could have been
steamer
tank.
gray.
Do you remember those shows? Which predator would if it was a
an alligator versus shark or something like that? Oh, I know.
They could have had a tank versus a battleship.
I think that's real. I think that is an episode. You're gonna have to look at that. Like, I'm pretty sure. I know they're in the animals, but they've definitely.
Well, I don't want to get too deep into not this, but I think that the Army and the Navy could work together to create themes in these uniforms. And think of the marketing of that game. They could have had both clashing and then the logo of the game.
They could have done a land by sea battleship board. This is free marketing for all my Army and my Navy PAOs out there. You guys could have done battleship with tanks and the actual ships. Just saying, cool commercial marketing idea.
You'd have to pay whoever owns battleship, but
yeah, we'll figure it out.
Just work together. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Today, because we ran a little long, we enjoyed our conversation with Jennifer Campbell. We have the uniforms. I want to hear your votes, by the way, on the uniforms. So go ahead and light us up at Tango Alpha Lima at legion.org and let us know what team you're rooting for and which uniform you think is best. And they don't have to be the same. You could split your vote here. Holly's letting us know that most astronauts were Navy and Marine Corps pilots. Still, they could have made it like a shuttle theme, like make it the vehicle. So but I would have preferred the same era, representing the same era and their contribution to that era. That's would have been my preference.
I know that's a good on point theme.
But nobody
consulted you.
No, they didn't go to Tango Alpha Lima at legion.org and say, please get this to Jeff Daly immediately because we need his help. All right, what we're going to do now is we're going to go into, we only have one, but we have a very special one. We have one, rapid fire. All right, I saw this. It's amazing when you wake up and because I go through all the veteran news articles, and this one was in so many of them. And it's weird when you know the person. All right, we salute the Marine Corps vet who, wait for it, chugged beer from her prosthetic leg. I took the story from Task and Purpose, but it's everywhere. All right, there's it's the story, and there's a video. I'm sure super producer Holly has a video on her. It's not on the actual event. It's talking about her from 2019. She has an amazing story, by the way, an amazing story, and she's an amazing human being. There's no wrong way to drink a beer, but this is just about as right a way as you can get. At Monday's basketball game between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Indiana Pacers, Marine Corps veteran Annika Hutzler filled her prosthetic leg with beer and chugged it while featured on the Crypto.com's Arena Jumbotron. Hutzler was, of course, named fan of the game, as if there could possibly be any other worthy contenders. The title earned her a $100 gift card, but more importantly, she will probably never have to pay for a beer again. She definitely will not at the Art Deco bar of Hollywood Post 43. Annika, if you're ever there, just tell him, put it on Jeff's tab, because this is awesome. What do you think there, Ash?
I love this so much. Like it appeals to like all of just everything about being a service member. We just do obscure random things and we know how to have fun, and you're absolutely right. I'd be like, hey, check out this. I did this thing. Yeah, that's right.
Well, the cool
Never
thing
have I ever
this
not drank a beer out of my prosthetic leg.
Yeah, duh. Why are you even putting that on the Jumbotron? That's just normie norm for me. Could be Tuesday. But the cool thing about her is like this is such a positive take on her situation, and she's amazing at that. She has an Instagram that she has many followers. She's a pinup, and Gina Elise at Pinup for Vets has been helping get her out there in the media. She's been on the Today Show. She's been all over the place, and it started with a misdiagnosis of something in her foot that became a tumor, and it didn't have to be amputated if it would have been properly diagnosed in the first place, or she was told to suck it up, as Marines are told to do, and not go to sick call. And so it eventually spread to the point where that was the only option for her, was to give up her leg. And for a woman who was never into sport, she was a ballet dancer and did all of that thing. Now she excels at everything. I see her like jetting up, climbing walls. I see her. She was in the Warrior Games representing the Marine Corps. She's doing a lot of things, and I think that this fun thing, I'm so happy that she got to showcase something where she's being a dorky Marine, because
I love it. I love it so much.
That's what she is. She's a dorky Marine, and we love her. Ooh, raw.
Yeah.
So there you go. You got any shout outs or anything? I mean, where are we in this camp? This is early December. You got any shout outs? You got any wish list items you want to talk that you might want for Christmas?
No, I mean, I have everything I need. I'm not really materialistic, so I just prefer the time with family and friends, and I'm gonna make some cookies, so if people want to make cookies with
if you want to send her a digital card, though, to express how heartwarming that
I will say
was.
I don't know. I've just been really creative lately. I've been like making like candles and like crafting things. And
again, you keep mentioning these candles that none of us have ever seen.
I will have to make you a candle.
All right.
I just doing things.
I at least want to see one. Like, do you see you do this on camera? I want to see one that you make. I want to see on the bottom, made by Ashley.
Made with love.
Not the furniture company, a different Ashley. So just I want to see that on there. All right, we've done it. You're done with your Christmas shopping, but I'm not. So why don't you take us home?
All right. So don't forget to subscribe to the Tango Alpha Lima podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you consume your podcasts. Please leave us a review and give us a big old 5-star rating so the world knows how much you love us. And if you do have a guest recommendation, please go to legion.org/Tango Alpha Lima and click the suggested guest link. We look forward to hearing from you.
I just don't even feel like doing a crazy alpha message after that heartwarming Christmas thing. So alphas, I would like you to enjoy this holiday season for all the warmth and love that is out there, except during the Army-Navy football game. What I want you to be, I want you to pick sides, and I want you to smack talk, and I want you to chug beer, not necessarily out of your prosthetic leg, but if you have one, please feel free to do it, because you are alphas and you lead the way. Woo! Ooh, ROG, hashtag go Navy. And yes, I will spell hashtag, not use the musical sharp sign. What's wrong with you people? And with that, I'm going to say season 3, episode 137, mission